Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. First thing I want to do is put my little ticker on and thank you all for all your support. Thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for liking. My name's Vicky, for any of you who are just watching me for the first time. And I do videos on true crime and all sorts of things. Whatever takes my fancy, if you like. So don't follow the algorithm. Anyway, but this weekend I'm doing quite a few videos, I will be doing, about the Nicola Bulley case. For those of you who don't know about this case, Nicola was a 45-year-old mother of 2 children, dropped her children off at school on the 27th of January last year, and it was a Friday. That's why I'm starting off this series of videos now, because although it's only the 26th today, is Friday, so it was this equivalent day when she dropped her children off at school. Supposedly, this is the what we're led to believe. Dropped her children off at school, took her dog for a walk down by the river in St. Michael's on Wyre, which she did many times. Her dog Willow, a Springer Spaniel, and disappeared, vanished. And the dog was found later. The harness was on the bank. The dog was found running around by the side of the bench, by the side of the river. And then Nicola was in the water, apparently, for 23 days. It was 23 days before her body was found. And during this time, the searches that were made for Nicola were incredible. Divers, dogs, the fire service, the mountain rescue, a professional sort of private specialist dive team. There were so many searches made, and Nicola was not found until she was spotted, if you like, floating down the river by a psychic who just happened to be passing, Jason Rothwell. And 23 days later, sadly deceased. An inquest was later held, and it was decided, despite many anomalies in this case, it was decided that Nicola had fallen into the river accidentally on the 27th of January and died within 10 seconds from cold water shock. Why she'd not been found then for 23 days has never been explained, because this river was we're going to see some videos, was very slow moving, very shallow, crystal clear in places. So it's very strange that she was not found. And then, to make things even stranger, the specialist dive expert, who we're going to watch talking in this video, who I'm just thinking, does he have amnesia or something? Has he forgotten all the things that he said at the time? Has he, what? Because now he's saying that she was there all the time and he found her. He found her within 6 minutes. He told the police. The police dived but didn't find her. And this has led to even more conspiracy theories about this case, that the police left her there on purpose, as if they would do that. Just ridiculous things that people are saying, in my opinion. And no, but a lot of people see, we all trusted Peter Faulding, the dive expert, and a lot of people are still reluctant to let go of the fact that he may not be telling the truth. But anyway, so he's provided no confirmation of this yet, despite there being now a year. He's had plenty of time to get these findings confirmed. However, he has sent the images to 2 YouTubers and a fake psychic, and also he has shown them to a paramedic, 2 policemen, and God knows who else. probably nearly everyone that he knows has seen these images. But no expert has come back and confirmed that these images were Nicola. Though the fake psychic that he sent them to seemed to think it was crystal clear. So why Peter didn't realise at the time, I don't know. But anyway, this is where this is the controversy, further controversy about this case. So anyway, thank you, as I say, everyone who watches my videos, likes. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because that's completely free and that helps me out if you enjoy my content. Also, those of you who have joined, my membership is very strong. Thank you so much for that. And thank you to all of you that have sent me a super or PayPal'd me or bought me a Ko-fi. Lots of you have supported me in that way. But basically, just watching is a brilliant support. So thank you so much. So we're going to have a look. So, as I was researching as it's sort of like been a year, I was planning on doing videos over this weekend. Rest in peace, Nicola. You know, there's a general feeling that there's still unresolved issues in this case. This is a case a year later, everybody is still talking about, not only social media, but there's another documentary coming out on Tuesday about it, a Channel 5 documentary. So it's still being talked about by the mainstream media too, not only the dastardly social media that got so much sort of bad press, if you like, during this case. So many accusations of TikTok sleuths and people distracting, you know, when really all they were trying to do is help, because everybody feels that there's more to this case than meets the eye. So we're going to look, as I was researching for that, and I'm going to do a live later, if you're watching this when this video goes out on Friday the 26th, later this evening, I will be doing a live with lots of things about Nicola. We're going to look at quite a lot of different things. But as I was researching that, then these, you know, when you start researching something, other things come up. And this thing about Peter Faulding has been so contentious. You know, people have such opposite views. You know, some people think he's like, you know, the best thing ever, like, you know, he couldn't possibly lie. And then other people, which I include myself in that, have been very disappointed in Peter. And I feel like he's been caught out in lies. One way or another, he was either lying then or he's lying now. And, you know, very disappointed in the fact that he hasn't come up with any expert confirmation yet, and that instead he's been using YouTube. Now, I think the thing is, he probably hasn't been able to get anywhere with the mainstream media. He did make a short interview on Sky News with his mate, Martin Brunt, but he's like his mate from years back. But really, the rest of the mainstream media weren't really interested in what he was saying. They obviously don't believe him, or they can't verify it, because obviously the mainstream media have to verify everything. It's all right for a fake psychic to go on and do a video in a car that's now disappeared, though I've still got it and we have watched it recently again, saying, oh God, it was as clear as day. You could see her head, you could see her shoulders, you could see her feet. That video has now disappeared. It's all very well a fake psychic going on and doing that, but the mainstream media can't do that because they have to verify everything. And that makes me feel that these images, they cannot be verified, or they have not been verified. And it's important also to say that the police themselves, believe them or not, everybody's got their own views on the police as well. You know, I think the police were incompetent in this case, but I don't believe that they would have just deliberately left Nicola in the river because they wanted to find Nicola, because they wanted it to fit in with their scenario. So, you know, I don't believe for a minute that they would have dived down there and, you know, just ignored her being there. They didn't find her. She could have moved along the river, I suppose. But then they carried on searching. Anyway, you know, we don't know, basically. But the police did say that they did dive the area several times, where Mr. Faulding said Nicola was, or he's saying now. At the time, you'll see in a minute. This is my point of this video. Has he forgotten what he said? And why does he not acknowledge what he said? Acknowledge that what he said is confusing to people. You know, we all believed him. We all had a lot of respect for Peter, including me. Based most of the videos I did about the Nicola Bulley case on the fact that he said she definitely wasn't in the river. So then to come out and say, oh, yes, she was there all the time, but I just left her there, you know, it's just ridiculous. So, and, you know, Peter saying, oh, well, you know, you can't break the rules, etc. Peter's broke the rules on other cases. He's admitted it himself, where he's just gone forward and done his own thing. So why didn't he do it in this case? You know, he's telling a few little porcupines, Peter. And we'll see. I mean, yeah, maybe tomorrow he'll come out with the images verified by an expert in America, which is where he says he's going to. But he has sent these images to a YouTuber in America. So why he's, and bear in mind, so he has sent these images to all these people. So they have those now as well. They have the image. If he's not, you know, he's actually sent them by WhatsApp or whatever. So those images are now out of his control. Anybody who's received those images, probably everybody shows them to at least one other person, even if it's just their husband, wife, family. You know, it's like, it's not nice to think that if that is Nicola's body, he's released it to all the wrong people. Anyway, he says he's going to the Prime Minister. Of course, Prime Minister's got a little bit more on his plate with wars and things like that. But that's what he says. He's going to the Prime Minister. He's going to the James Cleverly. Now, maybe eventually we'll hear something about it. So how long do we wait? He said in the new year. Why he even had to wait till the new year is a total. He didn't wait till the new year to show these images to the other people, but to the experts he had to wait till the new year. Just crazy. But anyway, we'll see. So I want to show you these things that I found because, yeah, I just think, has Peter got amnesia? Has he forgotten the things he said? So first thing we're going to look at, this is an article that was in The Sun. This is why these mainstream media think they will not entertain him, because half the things they've done. So this was on the 14th of February last year. So the dive expert who scoured the River Wire searching for Nicola Bulley has vowed to find her in the woods. Peter Faulding, who led a 3-day sonar search for the mum alongside cops, says he is now confident the 45-year-old is not in the water. Rest in peace, Nicola. You know, I feel like Nicola's memory has been completely disrespected by these people. You know, it's now become a battle of egos as to whether Peter was right or the police were right. They're all, you know, he's sort of saying the police this and the police are saying he's that. And what about Nicola? And even if he did find her, how did she even end up in there in the first place? Anyway, rest in peace, Nicola. So Nicola was last seen on January the 27th on a riverbank, St Michael's on Wyre, Lancashire, at around 9:10. Now, later we will be looking at the official timeline in the College of Policing report. Somewhat people would disagree with it. The timeline to me, I just think, oh my God, it's very difficult to establish, the truth of the timeline. But anyway, so this is Mr. Faulding in his high-vis jacket, looking the part. So he reckons she is on land. So Peter, have you forgotten this interview that you did with The Sun? So he reckons she's on land and insists, I'll put my back out, trying to solve the riddle of her disappearance. The dive veteran of 25 years told Mail Online, if someone's in the woods, I will find them. So another thing that the police complained about Peter was that he just went off his own back digging, and they had to tell him off for doing it because he is a civilian. He did come over last year, didn't he? It was like this. I thought he was in charge of the whole thing. The College of Policing have admitted their mistakes in, not controlling the press properly, and he was just off it getting interviewed by everybody. He's now saying he couldn't avoid it, but of course he could avoid it. He was loving it. He was loving it. So, if someone's in the woods, I will find them. We can cover so much ground in the local area, but people who are often abducted or murdered generally don't go that far. So, the mum of two was last seen on January the 27th on a riverbank at around 9:10. So, this is Nicola's sister. This is Nicola's partner, Paul. Anyway, that morning she dropped off her two daughters at school, joined a work call just after 9 a.m. and it literally was 1 minute or something after 9 a.m. as she walked her dogs. She only had one. Oh, for God's sake, what is wrong? Oh my God, these are the people that criticize social media and they're saying she walked her dogs. Anyway, despite a 19-day search, police are yet to find any trace of Nicola. Mr. Faulding, and she's from Inskip. She, of course, her house is in Inskip. Mr. Faulding, CEO of Specialist Group International, warned that there are huge areas to search for Nicola, but promised to really work hard on this one. Oh, sorry, hang on. I've just got to answer the phone, sorry. Now, my dogs have gone for a clip, so they're going to be dropped back. So I think I'm going to have to pause this and come back to it. Anyway, so he warned that there are huge areas to search for Nicola, but promised to really work hard on this one. But in a grim forecast, he told the Express.co.uk, I'm looking now at possible deposition sites. Let's have a look at that. Is it going to show the... Oh. This is what I mean. You forget, has Peter forgotten about these things? So there was a link there from the Sun to the Express. It's saying private Nicola Bulley search. Whoops. Oh, it's going to flash up a load of adverts, unfortunately. How annoying. Yeah, he forgets. Now, he said in his question and answer session that he did, he said that he did not discuss deposition sites with Nicola's partner, but here, a forensic pioneer, oh my God. Forensic pioneer Peter Faulding said he would be privately searching for possible burial sites as he continues to help Miss Bulley's family find any trace of her. A forensic pioneer has said he will launch his own investigation into possible deposition sites for Nicola Bulley as the police continue with their theory she fell into a river. He said he would conduct his own low-key search. God, no wonder the police were annoyed with him. Into Miss Bulley's whereabouts after speaking to her family about deposition sites. So come on, Peter, have you forgotten this? Because you said then in the question and answer session that you did not speak to the family about deposition sites. Where's the truth, Peter? Where is the truth? So deposition site is a forensic phrase meaning a place where someone has been buried. So, yeah, Lancashire police have been working on the theory that she fell into the river and have carried out extensive searches, etc. And it was the family that appealed to Peter to assist the detectives. So he said they used world-leading sonar to scour the river, but have since called off their marine search, which they carried out for free after finding no trace of Miss Bulley. And he told the Express he had now discussed possible deposition sites with Miss Bulley's family and friends, and with her partner Paul Ansell and friend Heather. Yeah, Peter's forgotten that he's said these things. He said, I'm talking to the family and obviously have a vast experience finding bodies, buried bodies. Yeah, because he buries his pets and then practices, after his pets die, he buries them and then he practices finding them again. I was frank with Paul and Heather the other day because we need to consider possible deposition sites. We don't know. I'm not saying the police aren't doing that. And what I don't want to do is interfere with the police operation. Mine investigation will be low key. I will just be looking around for possible deposition sites. Over the weekend, it emerged a witness had seen, so these were the two men in hoods or hats, supposedly acting suspiciously and hiding their faces on the day before Miss Bulley went missing. And he said he also saw one of the same men on January the 27th. And this was this fisherman thing. Now, of course, Rebecca Smith said she didn't think it was anything funny about fishermen being near a river. But these men have never come forward. Do you know, normally you make an appeal for these men to come forward. They come forward and say, yes, it was us. We were fishing by the river that day and we didn't see Nicola or whatever. But they've never come forward. So this guy said, I remembered they wanted to hide their faces, which struck me as odd. It wasn't particularly cold that day. It was quite mild, so their behaviour to me seemed strange. And this witness said it took police 9 days to get back to him after he reported his sighting on Monday, January the 30th. He said that Mr. Faulding said that Miss Bulley was a creature of habit who did not usually go anywhere near the river on her walks with Willow, according to her Strava data. He said that's the worrying thing. The family showed me the Strava data the day before, and they said she never goes near the river on the Strava. She was an absolute creature of habit. There you go. Okay, so let's go back to the original article. God, I probably won't be able to get back to the original article now. Here we are. So I'd got to the bit where they'd said that he'd told the Express, I'm now looking at possible deposition sites. Do you remember that, Pete? Maybe you'd had too much whiskey and you can't remember that you told the Express you were looking at deposition sites, and you said that you discussed it with the family. But in the question and answer session that you did recently, you said you never said anything like that, but you obviously did. I'm talking to the family and obviously have vast experience finding buried bodies. So it's unclear exactly when and where Mr. Faulding will begin trawling surrounding woodland for Nicola, but he added it was now time to consider all options, including abduction or that she is being held somewhere. Sorry, I've got to listen out for the lady bringing my doggies back. Oh gosh, I'm trying to switch my volume on my phone because it was off. Sorry. So, So yeah, the diver ended search efforts with his team on February the 8th, having found no trace of Nicola on the River Wyre. And then it goes on to talk about these two guys. So the Sun adds that the news of those suspicious men comes as police searching for Nicola, looking at who had permits to fish the river around the time she vanished. And they're also trawling through security camera footage from the area and trying to trace the owner of a shabby looking red van spotted outside a barn. Okay, so that's one article I wanted to show you. Yeah. You know, what's this saying one thing and then saying something else and then saying you never said that? So the next things I want to show you are actual videos. Again, seems to me Peter has got bad memory. Let's go back to the beginning.
I personally use the sonar. A couple of my team members can use it, but I tend to use it, and I locate them extremely quickly, and my dive team will go in and recover. So that's what, if I can't find them, it means they're not there. That's how confident I am. And again, for buried human remains, if they are in that wood or someone is in that wood, I will find them without a doubt. I just need to be in the right place. And again, it's hunting for the right place and having the knowledge, knowing where to actually go to actually look for these victims. And it's really, really important. I think once you get to the stage where in the local area that we can cover so much ground, but it's, people who often abducted and murdered, they generally don't go that far. They generally don't go that far from the area, or they're taken that far from the area. Everything is focused on the river at the moment, and that's what I was surprised with. Well, there's huge areas to search, and I think I advise the public to stay away from the area and try not to, come in from outside and start breaking into sheds. What's happened, that's bad news. It's upsetting the locals. The police are searching around the village in certain areas, but there's always having additional expertise. I say I'm registered with the National Crime Agency, an expert, so that expertise can assist. We have our own helicopter, so I'm looking now at online, on the ordnance survey maps that we carry on possible deposition sites. I mean, from previous experience working on all these cases, that generally a body's buried within 50 meters of a trackway. That's the general. So the police can only cover so much ground, but it's always good to have another pair of eyes and expertise on the ground to work alongside rather than interfere. And I want to make that clear, not interfere with their investigation. Now, the day Nicola went missing, at the bottom of the bank, it was about 2 foot of water into the river onto a rock shelf. So my view is if she had gone in there, she would have landed on the rocks unless she was pushed extremely hard and literally launched herself into the river. But again, the river was not flowing fast. That's been confirmed by the family. And normally when we recover drowning victims, they are down within 2 to 3 feet of where they go down. There can be a slight flow on the river. It can carry them slightly. But each year, say we deal with a number of suicides, number of drownings, and on witnessed drownings, they're normally roughly where they go. If we look back at Ellis Downs, he laid in a river for 3 days. We found Alex is exactly the same place as he drowned, unfortunately. If Nicola had been there, she would have potentially floated up by now. After about 10 to 14 days, can be less, depends on the body makeup. Bodies normally float to the surface. I don't want to go into the detail of that, but it's normally dog walkers who find them. And it's been thoroughly searched. The area where Nicola went in was searched thoroughly by very professional police divers on the day, very thoroughly, and she was not there, which leads me to believe, because of their competency, she is not in that river. That's my view. But we got involved 10 days after, and then we researched that area with up and down stream extremely thoroughly with high frequency side scan sonar. So that's leading me to other theories, obviously. On this particular job, looking at this, I'll be looking at...
Sorry about that. So guess what's finally arrived? My tartan skirt for Burns night, which is too late. But anyway, said they came last night. They didn't come because I was here. I was probably on the live. 8:30 said they came. Oh no, it was before I started.
Possible deposition light sites and looking at ground sign rather than just running a radar.
Sorry about
when
that.
you're looking in woods and things in certain areas, but there's always having expertise, additional expertise. I say I'm registered with the National Crime Agency, an expert, so that expertise can assist. You know, we have our own helicopter, so I'm looking now at online, you know, on the Ordnance Survey maps that we carry on possible deposition sites. I mean, from previous experience working on all these cases, you know that generally a body is buried within 50 meters of a trackway. That's the general. So the police can only cover so much ground, but it's always good to have another pair of eyes and expertise on the ground to work alongside rather than interfere. And I want to make...
You know, I know some people get angry with me because of what Peter says. You know, Peter's saying that, you know, people who want to think the best of Peter, and I understand that, I really do. But all I'm just saying now is don't shoot the messenger. This is not me saying these things. This is Peter. Listen to what he says. It's not what I'm saying. This is what Peter is saying. And I know there's some people that are just so determined, you know, to believe Peter. It's almost like it's like to me, it's like a veil that comes down. It's like, no, Peter's right. You know, because I think they've loved him for so long, but they just can't see that this is what he's saying. You know, what he's saying in this interview, again, is at odds with what he said in the question and answer. He had not spoken to the family about deposition sites because that was mentioned in the College of Policing review, that he had spoken to the family about possible deposition sites and caused distress. He said in the question and answer that he did with Break the Eyes. No, he didn't say that, but now we know that he did. You know, how many lies does Peter have to get caught out with before people realize that he doesn't always tell the truth? He may do many good things, but he does not always tell the truth. I don't know how many more, you know, lies he has to be caught out with before people accept that maybe he's not always telling the truth.
Clear, not interfere with their investigation. Now, the day Nicola went missing, at the bottom of the bank, it was about 2 foot of water into the river onto a rock shelf. So my view is if she had gone in there, she would have landed on the rocks unless she was pushed extremely hard and literally launched herself into the river. But again, the river was not flowing fast. That's been confirmed by the family. And normally when we recover drowning victims, they are down within 2 to 3 feet of where they go down. There can be a slight flow on the river. It can carry them slightly. But each year, say we deal with a number of suicides, number of drownings, and on witness drownings, they're normally roughly where they go. If we look back at Ellis Downs, he laid in a river for 3 days. We found Alex is exactly the same place as he drowned, unfortunately. If Nicola had been there, she would have potentially floated up by now after about 10 to 14.
So he's saying here now that after 10, 14 days, she potentially would have floated up by now. But actually it was 23 days before Nicola was found, came up to the surface. So that's odd, isn't it? Perhaps Peter's forgotten he said that.
Days can be less, depends on the body makeup. Bodies normally float to the surface. I don't want to go into the detail of that, but it's normally dog walkers who find them. And it's been thoroughly searched. The area where Nicola went in was searched thoroughly by very professional police divers on the day, very thoroughly, and she was not there.
That is my contention. I think she would have been found on the first day. According to what all experts say. That's one thing that all the experts, including Peter, are united on, if you like, or agree with, that if she would have gone, she would have been found that first day. You know, this is the problem.
Which leads me to believe, because of their competency, that she is not in that river. That's my view. But we got involved 10 days after, and then we researched that area with up and down stream extremely thoroughly with high frequency side scan sonar. So that's leading me to other theories, obviously. On this particular job, looking at this, I'll be looking at possible deposition sites and looking at ground sign rather than just running a radar. When you're looking in woods and things like that, you're looking at potential disturbed ground, and that's what I've got a keen eye for. So that's, you've got to know what you're looking for to actually find, you know, buried things. So it's not just about the radar, although I carry it with me. It's mainly about understanding ground sign. Nicola's.
So he's definitely in the view there that deposition sites. And later tonight, when we're going to do the live tonight, I'm going to show you one of Curtis's. Curtis Media took some very good videos, didn't he, right in the beginning? And somebody has resent me one of his videos, and there's some things I sent quite a lot of things. And we're going to have a look at them tonight. Again, you know, it's not, I'm just be showing you things that people have sent me. And then you make your own mind up. Same with Peter. If you still want to believe Peter, you know, I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm just asking, please listen to what he's saying and don't get angry with me, please, because I do feel the way I feel about Peter. That's my opinion. I don't think he's a bad person. I just think there's something more going on with Peter than the fact that he says he found Nicola. But anyway, I don't believe that he did find Nicola until I'm, you know, that's confirmed by an expert. And don't forget, the police sent it off to an expert who did not confirm it. So, you know, there was anyway, we won't go into that anymore. But let's carry on listening to it.
It's either gone in the river at some stage, which is looking more unlikely the days as we go. She's either walked off on her own or she's been abducted. She could be being held somewhere. There's so many avenues to look at in this particular inquiry, but all need to be explored. So although you've got all this.
And also remember, at this time when Peter was doing this interview, we were being told, social media ghouls, not to speculate. And here's Peter having a good old speculate.
Specialist equipment, it's that knowledge that assists with finding these sites. I mean, hopefully, we all hope that Nicola's alive and well somewhere. I'm hoping Nicola's just run away. That's what we all hope, and that's what Paul hopes. But I'm just going to assist the family quietly on my own, without trying to keep it low key.
I'm going to assist the family quietly on my own, keep it low key. Yes, Peter.
Not lots of vehicles around, and just trying to assist them in trying to get some sort of answers. And I'd probably be working alone, but at least I can feed anything back to the police. The helicopter is there purely for a flyover to give me a good lie of the land. I mean, I say I can put a drone up, but I'll generally fly around sort of 500 feet above the ground. And I can, follow roads. I can look at possible deposition sites. I'll probably have one of my team members taking photographs from the air of, blocks of wood.
He's really fixed on the deposition sites in this interview. Really, really fixed.
And things like this, lay-bys and all sorts of things. So we're going to actually start putting a search strategy together. I mean, I'll have a good search strategy already this week, looking on my computer, looking at the Ordnance Survey maps. And that'll give me a good detail, and then I can put that into my software and then fly that route to get an overview again. From the helicopter, I can get an extremely good view, just like drones, but I can see for miles with it, which makes my life a lot easier. Then on the ground, it's on foot then, with a vehicle on foot going into these locations and having a thorough search around. I mean, I live on a farm in Sussex, so I live on the land. I understand about plant growth. I understand about sticks. It's the way things grow. This is the good thing about this disappearance of Nicola is fresh. It's not an old cold case I'm working on. So it can make life a lot easier as long as it's not left too long. We need to find Nicola. The police need to find Nicola and to give this family some form of closure, because they're in absolute agony at the moment, absolute agony, and it's horrible to see.
Okay, so there you go. That's what Peter had to say then about the deposition sites, etc. Now we're going to have a look at another interview that he did on the bank of the river. Now, I haven't seen this interview before. Again, this was with the Daily Mail. So these are not interviews where he's been ambushed. You know, he said in the question, like, oh, he was ambushed and he just couldn't help but make these media interviews. I don't think this is the case with this particular interview. It's just him on his own with the Daily Mail guy or woman. And yeah. Anyway, so we're going to watch this now. Right back to the beginning.
What we're going to do is re-clearing the area down by the actual weir today, because that we couldn't actually get the boat into to get the sonar over yesterday, so that's it's quite shallow. So we need to put the team in to look at that area.
It was so shallow, and so they couldn't even get the boat in. You know, I can watch these things over and over again, and just seems unlikelier and unlikelier that she was not found.
And then we want to sonar the first sort of stretch of the river, just going down, just to confirm nothing's there. And then I'm happy with this area. It's totally clear.
The police in the police press conference, they emphasise that they're pretty convinced that Nicola did fall into the water. You don't necessarily go along with that. Can you say why?
My opinion here is that if Nicola had gone in at that bench, and with all my experience of dealing with drowning victims every year, she would have gone to the bottom or drifted maybe a couple of meters and gone to the bottom. The police divers, who are very professional, thoroughly searched this river that day, this stretch of river, all the way down there with a police dive team, and she wasn't there. The current, there's hardly any current here, and in my experience, they don't move very far. Bodies do not move that far for that time, and it's been dive searched twice, and we've searched this stretch of river, and she's clearly not in this part.
Is it feasible that the body could have drifted 15 kilometres to Morecambe Bay?
No, not with this not on this tidal river. In my experience, I mean, things tend to get washed in and washed out. But there's so many bends and snag hazards. It's very shallow down there as well. As the tide goes out, it hits the stones. We had a boat grounded the other day. There's nowhere to go.
Right. And what is the visibility like when you're with the sonar and underwater? How far can your sonar see?
The sonar is crystal clear. I mean, I can see every rock on the bottom, every stone, stick. It's the best you can buy, and I can sort of give a guarantee that there's nothing in this part from the bench down to the weir. And
right.
I can give a guarantee that there's nothing in this part from the bench to the weir.
One part there.
Right. And have you spoken to Nicola's partner Paul today or last night?
I'm meeting up with Paul later, hopefully,
right.
And catching them. I do speak to them most days, which is really important. They are, they're wondering where Nicola is.
Now, sorry. We probably will look at that press conference again at some point over the weekend. Now, there was also, he made a video. I had something up here. Let me just see if I can find it. Here we go. I think it's this. Right, yeah. So this is from the Sun newspaper. And this is supposedly video proof that Peter put out to say she definitely was not in the water. So this was video proof that Peter put out. A diving expert who led a search for Nicola Bulley claims he has video proof she did not fall in the water. This is his video proof, how calm the river is, etc. So police believe she fell in the river wire while walking her dog Willow. Dive expert Peter Faulding says a clip shows the river is slow moving, which means she would have sunk very quickly. And this means, according to him, she would have remained near where she disappeared if she'd fallen in.
Because I don't know Nicola's in here, this is just a theory at the moment. It's on the bench. The phone was found on the bench. There's leads there, and normally she would be found by now if she was there. And that's still.
When he says the lead, he means the harness. The lead, according to the inquest, or according to Anne-Marie, was attached to was attached to Willow's collar. But again, I noted when I talked about that the other day, there's a few different things that people say. Is nothing. Is there nothing in this case that is 100% certain?
In my view, it's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one.
So how do you explain that to the family? I know you're speaking to the family.
I'm just telling the family as it is at the moment, and I think they're totally baffled what's going on. So, but
yeah, he's definitely insinuating there that there's something else has happened, that she's not in the river. You can see that in his face. And so he's saying to the family, I wonder if this is why the family cut off from him, because he told them, so many times she definitely wasn't in the river, and then talked about deposition sites and stuff. I wonder when it was they cut off from him, and why.
But everyone's pulling all the stops out to try and find Nicola the best we can.
Yeah, so let me see if I can. Let's just watch that one more time. Oh dear, so sad. It's just so sad. A year on, and really, poor Nicola and her poor girls and her poor family, still just, although it's supposed to be resolved, doesn't feel resolved, does it? It's very sad.
Because I don't know Nicola's in here, this is just a theory at the moment. It's on the bench. The phone was found on the bench. There's leads there, and normally she would be found by now if she was there. And that's still my view. It's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one.
So how do you explain that to the family? I know you're speaking to the family.
I'm just telling the family as it is at the moment, and I think they're totally baffled what's going on. So, but everyone's pulling all the stops out to try and find Nicola the best we can.
So there you go. So yeah, just these, literally, I wasn't looking for things about Peter Faulding when I found these. These are literally things that I found when I was researching other things. And I just thought, does Peter have amnesia? Has he forgotten these things that he said? And now he's saying something so completely different. And it's funny, the timing of it, isn't it? He obviously, he decided, again, I still don't understand, no disrespect to Luke, but why did Peter go to Luke's channel, which was a very small channel at the time? When he's got contact with James English, he's been interviewed by him before. Or why didn't he go to the mainstream media? Or why didn't he go immediately to the Prime Minister or whatever? Why has he waited so long? So he was waiting for the College of Policing report. And then when he found out, when he probably got the heads up to say that he was going to get slated, in the College of Policing report. That's when he did this. So that's why I think it's about egos. And anyway, I'll see you later in a live. And until then, remember to look after you, and remember to live and love wisely and carefully. And of course, may your God go with you. Bye.